What began as a routine cleanup at her stepfather's house was forever altered by a discovery so personal and violating that it ignited a fateful series of decisions that turned into a gruesome crime scene. Stay with us as we delve deep into this very controversial case, exploring not just the what and the how, but why Jade Janks committed the unthinkable. No matter what you believe about this case, it will leave you completely shaken. In the serene coastal town of Solana Beach, California, Jade Janks, born on October 14, 1983, established herself as a respected interior designer known for her refined aesthetic and attention to detail. Her company, Jade Janks Interior, was the reflection of her hard work that made her a millionaire within the span of a few years. Thomas Merriman was the co-founder of Butterfly Farms, a nonprofit organization focused on the conservation and study of native butterflies, and a recognized figure in his community. Most importantly, he was Jade's stepfather. Following Jade's parents' divorce, Merriman became a father figure to Jade, stepping into a role that went beyond mere familial obligation. Their relationship, cultivated over years, was seen by many as a strong and supportive bond, one that withstood the tests of personal and family upheavals. However, Thomas was also struggling with his use of alcohol and prescription medication. So, naturally, in April 2020, Jade moved to the house across from Thomas's to care for him. This backdrop of familial and professional stability paints the initial picture of Jade's life, a life that, to any onlooker, would appear full and content. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly calm existence lay undercurrents of unresolved issues and secrets. It was within this complex web of relationships that the seeds of a shocking crime were sown, a crime that would tear apart the fabric of Jade's life forever. On December 23, 2020, the dynamics within this seemingly tranquil family setting took a dark turn. Merriman had been hospitalized and was later transferred to a care facility. With the holiday season in full swing and her stepfather's house empty, Jade took it upon herself to tidy up the place, a gesture she had probably made numerous times before. But this time, her cleaning would lead her to a horrifying discovery. While dusting off the desk and organizing piles of paperwork, Jade bumped the mouse, which woke the computer up. Instead of mundane files or the clutter of a typical desktop, she was confronted with something unimaginably personal and distressing. The computer's screensaver displayed a photograph of female breasts. After a few seconds, she realized this was a picture of her. More specifically, this photo had been taken by Jade when she was with an ex-boyfriend a few years prior. The shock of this initial discovery urged her to delve deeper. She found folders filled with similar images, hundreds of them, spanning what appeared to be years. The emotional impact of this discovery was profound and immediate. Jade was engulfed by feelings of shock, compounded by the realization that the man she had known as a supportive father figure had been secretly violating her autonomy and trust. This breach went beyond personal violation. It was a profound betrayal that shattered her sense of safety and her understanding of the relationship she had with Merriman. Imagine the chills down your spine if you made such a discovery. And what would you do next if you were faced with such betrayal? Jade did not seek justice through the legal system. Haunted by the images and the implications of her stepfather's actions, Jade decided to take matters into her own hands. She had originally contacted a guy named Alan Roach, aka The Fixer, asking him to take care of her stepdad once she would bring him home from the hospital. So, on December 31, 2020, Merriman was discharged from the healthcare facility. Jade picked him up, a routine gesture underpinned by a sinister new reality. During the drive back to his residence, she texted Roach to get ready to get rid of Thomas. The problem was, Alan never showed up at the residence. Being a simple security guard, he had been posing as a hitman, fooling Janks all along. Shaken up by the turn of events, Jade had to improvise and devise a new plan. She decided to drug Merriman with Zolpidem, a sleep medication sold under the brand name Ambien, aiming to kill him as retribution for what he had done to her. However, complications quickly arose. Merriman, under the influence of the pills, became unexpectedly uncooperative and difficult to manage. Jade's texts from that night, later uncovered by investigators, revealed her growing desperation. Phrases like, "I just dosed the hell out of him," "He's not waking up," "I can't carry him alone," and "I can't keep a kicking body in my trunk," painted a chilling indication of her resolve. As the night drew to a close and the new year began, Jade's actions culminated in a disturbing scene. Unable to manage the situation alone and driven by a mix of fear, anger, and desperation, she attempted to suffocate Merriman with a plastic bag, believing it was the only way to end this situation. Merriman's subsequent death marked the tragic end of the series of events set into motion by that initial discovery. Jade then reached out to her acquaintance, Adam Sipliak, seeking assistance after the incident. She confessed to Adam that she had not only administered a significant amount of drugs to Tom, but had also suffocated him with a bag and attempted to strangle him. Her intention was to move Tom's body back to his bed to stage his death as an overdose at his own home. Adam, however, declined to assist her. Instead, he chose to report Jade to the police the following day. The dawn of January 2, 2021, brought with it a grim discovery that confirmed the worst fears of a community in shock. Thomas Merriman's body was found hidden under a pile of garbage outside his home. The placement of the body, carelessly concealed, spoke volumes about the chaotic and panicked state of mind of the perpetrator. An autopsy would later reveal lethal levels of sleeping pills in his system, but no conclusive evidence of strangulation, deepening the complexity of the case. Jade Janks was arrested the same day, thanks to Adam's call to the police, and after an investigation swiftly linked the incriminating evidence to her. The evidence, including the text messages Jade sent on the night of the murder, painted a damning picture of premeditation and despair. The investigation set the stage for a legal battle that would lead to a particularly controversial verdict. The trial of Jade Janks started in December 2022, almost 2 years after Thomas's body was discovered. As the details of the case unfolded in the courtroom, they painted a complex portrait of a woman driven to the edge by a discovery that shattered her world. The prosecution argued that Jade's actions were premeditated, highlighting the planning involved and the incriminating texts she sent on the night of the murder. These messages were critical in portraying her intent to end Merriman's life, underscoring the calculated nature of her actions. In contrast, the defense argued that Jade's mental state at the time of the crime was compromised, driven by a sudden traumatic revelation and a history of psychological abuse. This narrative aimed to frame her actions as a tragic outcome of circumstances beyond her control, rather than as cold-blooded murder. Jade might have believed the only way to alleviate her anguish and disgust was by eliminating Tom. She convinced herself that murder was justified, feeling a sense of entitlement to take such drastic action. This belief led her to think that others would also understand and possibly condone her perspective on the situation. The immediate emotional impact of discovering such a profound betrayal would have been overwhelming, pushing Jade into a state of emotional dysregulation. On December 21, 2022, the jury found Jade guilty of first-degree murder. On March 6, 2023, she was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison, reflecting the severity of the crime and the premeditated nature as determined by the court. The court set her eligibility for parole after 25 years, taking into account the possibility of rehabilitation and the circumstances that led to her criminal behavior. What would you do if you uncovered such a horrifying secret similar to Jade's, and how should our society address the complex interplay of personal retribution versus trusting the criminal justice system?